there are two ends of a rope, the working end and the standing end. It doesn't matter which one is which, but whichever one you use to work with and build knots is called the working end. The working end is also known as the running end. This part is called the working part. The other part just stands there, and therefore it's called the standing part. And the end of the standing part is called the standing end. Sometimes you're going to have two running ends, like in the case of the square knot, but we'll get to that when we get to it. Okay, what you have here is called a bight. Notice that the working end does not cross over the standing part. Otherwise it would be known as a loop. As long as it's like this, it's called a bight. Talking about loops, if the working end is over the standing part, it is called an overhand loop. When the working end is under the standing part, it's called an underhand loop. Let's talk about motions. When I go like this is called a turn. Another way I could use the turn is when I'm turning over the standing part like this. When I fit the working end through the eye of the loop, for example, that's called tucking. So this is tucking the working end through the eye of the loop. Whenever I do something like this is called a twist. Now, if you make two twists on a bight, this is called the elbow. When the rope goes like this is called a turn. Okay, now if the rope goes all the way around again, this is called a round turn. And when it goes around another time, this is called two round turns. Now let's talk about different types of knots. Bends typically tie two lines together. Hitches basically tie rope to things such as poles or stakes. Some knots have a purpose to be slip knots. Loops, sheepshanks, especially the main sheepshank like this, shorten the rope or isolate a bad part of the rope. Stopper knots stops the end of the rope from coming through something like an eyelet or a grommet. And finally lashing, which is actually a merit by itself that you might take after this. Lashing uses ropes to tie things to things such as these two poles.